lesson that you've actually learned from Bubba that has maybe helped you out?
Man, I, I know it's not the most serious answer, but his taste in music and the amount of attention that he pays to all the little details. We like listening to a lot of the same music, and certainly I've been like picking his brain on what he likes to listen to. And yeah, I think he's definitely leans more to the heavier side than even me. So I've got some studying and learning to do for sure.
Anything on racing that you learned?
I mean, how he approaches the speedway racing on a serious note, is definitely different than mine. His comfort level, be able to just jump in and go is something that I don't think I have the same quite understanding for. And so, just trying to pick his brain on what him and Freddie do and how they communicate throughout the race is something that me and Nick definitely have tried to learn from and will continue to learn from.
Have you sat down with Kurt any and talked with him and picked his brain in regards to racing? And if so, what did you learn about him that surprised you or knowledge that you gained?
Well, I mean, I've in the years prior, I've been able to spend time with him before even 2311, and just how he looks at racing and just, I mean, he's incredibly smart guy when it comes to racecraft and what he's feeling inside of his race car, and just trying to get an understanding for that has been beneficial. But it's been really, really nice having him when we went to the tests in Coda. He was there every day, every minute, giving feedback. Me and him talk every time we could. In between runs, he went out to the Phoenix test. I think we had an engineer or two go to, but he went out there and kind of paid attention to what was going on. So he's been a nice resource, not just for me, but for Billy and our entire team. Just an extra set of eyeballs that can really pay attention to what's going on. And he comes from a place of a massive amount of experience in the sport. So having someone like him in our corner to help guide me and our whole team has been great.
I'm curious, RCR was pretty heavily involved with the development of this car, and you go out, you have a 3-win season last year, and that success, it didn't come easily, but you were consistently competitive. How can your learnings because as a test driver for the next gen, one of the drivers who tested the next gen car through its development, and just knowing that everything that went on in-house there, how can that help you benefit 2311 this year?
Well, certainly the way the car drove, the next gen car drove at the next gen tests is night and day compared to what it drives now. Almost there's nothing I could take from the Darlington test that I could apply to the way this car drives now. I think at Darlington we had like 6 or 7 seconds of, 5 seconds of fall off or something crazy in like 25 laps. Like the car just drove so much different where it drove platform wise. Just it was nowhere where it is today. And so not a lot I could take away from that, but certainly there's things and trends that we followed at RCR that I remember and have note of, and just try to not make the same mistake twice, essentially.
What type of music do you like to listen to?
Yeah, I like hard rock, metal. I mean, I like all music, honestly, but yeah, the bulk of what I'd say is my favorite. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'd say our favorite music is pretty close. Like I said, he definitely likes, I think, a little bit more on the extreme end, on the more metal than I do, but I can't always listen to it in the car. My kid doesn't like it.
Final one for me is that you mentioned about being 10 to 15 minutes early.
Trying to be. It's not every time, but like I never used to be early. I always used to be 10 to 15 minutes late for everything, so I'm getting better.
Now you're on time.
Yeah, on time or early, which is nice, less stressful.
Continued success.
You worked with Billy a little bit at RCR,
Yeah.
I believe, right? How well have you gotten to know him over this offseason?
I've gotten to know him a lot more over the off season, and whether he's wanted to know more about me or not, he's unfortunately got to know more about me over the off season, for good and bad. But yeah, I think our relationship's off to a good start. I think he's a very straightforward and serious, and I think it blends well with how much of a character, or maybe arguably clown, I can be. So I think it's a good balance.
I apologize if somebody's already asked this, but have you gotten to talk to Michael Jordan at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No.
What's it like working with him now?
I mean, it's a huge responsibility. I mean, that guy's. I mean, he did nothing but win on and off the racetrack throughout his whole life. He's done really, really well, and it sets the tone, the precedent for how we're going to operate and go about our year here at 2311. So he has high expectations, and certainly I know he's involved, but it's really cool to see his as we've been getting integrated into the team, how much he does pay attention, even more so than I expected. So it's all been really good, and excited to drive for him and Denny, and continue to go in the right direction that this team and Toyota wants us to go in.
What are conversations with him like? Is it more of just kind of like, here's the expectation and here's what we want from you? Is it motivational? What's the tone of the conversation with a guy like him?
I mean, it honestly, it's kind of, it just depends on the conversation itself. Sometimes it can be right about racing, sometimes it's about other things. But yeah, he's definitely locked in, and it's funny. I wasn't feeling my best out at the Clash, and somehow he knew. I hadn't told many people, but he knew. He's in the loop. Want to make sure I was all good. So it's great to know that I know he cares about it. It's his team, but certainly he's really in the loop and pays attention to what's going on.
From a racing standpoint, what has he maybe helped you out as far as competitiveness or spirit? They say, you know what, I need to get better.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you get to sit down with a guy like that and talk about the future and him wanting you to drive for his team, I mean, that if that doesn't get you excited and find a way to take it to the next level, then I don't know what will.
So going back to the lessons, obviously.
Hey everyone, Zane Smith, driver number 38-4 for Front Row Motorsports. Be sure to subscribe to Frontstretch on YouTube.